Hi and welcome to that bass and creativity lesson. My name is Olivier Babaz and today I'd like to talk about 2-5-1s. 2-5-1s are one of the most common chord progression, whether in jazz or in many styles of music. It defines the movement, the harmonic movement we'll have within a song. So on the bass, we have generally a great horizontal view of harmony. And that is great because we are playing bass lines, basically linking roots from chord to chord, or we're playing melodies or improvised melodies. And in this case, we're linking chord tones from chord to chord. So when it comes to the 2-5 progression, and that's why I have my keyboard here, it's especially interesting to have a look at what other instrumentists are doing, and especially pianists or guitarists, because they stack notes on top of each other, and that's why I was referring to horizontal view of harmony for the bass, whereas we can have a vertical view of harmony when we check at what pianists are doing. So to get back on the 2-5-1, let's take a very basic example in C major. So the 2 will be D minor 7, the 5 will be G7, and the 1, of course, C major 7. What I'm gonna do is play on the bass the roots of each chord, and on the piano I'm going to play 2 notes voicing, which are called shell voicing, and the shell voicing are builded by thirds and 7. So I'm playing the root on the bass and thirds and 7 on the piano. So let's just check how it works for D minor 7, G7, C major 7. So we've got D minor 7. So we have D, C, F, then G, B, F, and C, B, E in the piano. Every time the thirds and the seventh resolve to each other. The third of the 2 becomes the 7 of the 5, and the 7 of the 5 becomes the third of the 1. And every time we have a descending, whether chromatic or stable movement. So let me play it with rhythm now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's really interesting here is to check the inner movement within the chord structure. So basically, as I was telling you, the 7 of the 2 goes down a half step to becomes the 3rd degree of the 5. So C becomes B and then stays on B to become the 7 of the 1. So we have this very basic movement. Well, this is very, very important to have a look at that and to try, and that's why we're playing bass, and this is not a lesson about piano, and we are going to kind of translate that kind of playing on our bass. So what I'll do is when I'm improvising, so I'll improvise melodies, I'll have those landing points that I'm targeting. So I'll be maybe starting on the 7 of the 2, then targeting the 3 of the 5, and then the 7 of the 1. Let's hear how it sounds on the bass only this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's really interesting, and we should really take a lot of time exploring those voice leading. So when it comes to piano and when it comes to bass playing, my really strong advice is to work in any tonality. So You practice that on the piano so that you hear those voice leadings, and I advise you to work in all 12 tonalities. So for example, let's practice that and let's play a 2-5-1, and then the 1 becomes the next 2. So it will be D minor 7, G7, C major 7, becoming C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, B flat minor 7, etc., etc. Let's hear it. 1, 2. Back to D minor 7, I only had 6 tonalities here as I'm moving by tone. If I want to work the other 6 ones, I can move up or a half tone. So let's start from E flat minor 7. We're back to E flat minor 7. So really important to practice in all 12 tonalities, and really to have a strong sense of thirds and seventh resolving on each other. Well, the next step is to check other voice leadings. So what we're gonna do, instead of adding notes on the piano as would the pianists do, because those are only 2 notes voicing on the right hand, but we're going to leave it with only 2 notes, but this time we'll change the movement. So instead of all the time going down, we may have one of the voices going up. All right, so let's get back to our D minor 7 example. When I have, so I'll have 3 F and 7 with G C. Let me invert that that interval here. So C and F on the piano. Instead of moving C down to B, instead of doing this, so instead of moving down to the 3rd of G7, I'll move my C up to C sharp, reaching for the sharp 11 of G. So let's hear it. And then up and up again to reach the 9 of the 1. And the F will have to go down as well to reach the 3rd. So in this case, so we really have a very nice color here. And we're kind of getting a little off the path of a very conventional sound. So it's really interesting to check it out in, of course, once again, all tonalities. I'll let you practice that. But what's really interesting and really useful is to use the voicing we have in this case, and the same thing we did, I call that translate that to the bass. It's use that kind of voice leading to build your solo and to guide the melodies you're playing. So let's take the same example again. So we have C going up to C sharp on the G and going up to the D on the C. Let's practice that on the bass. So I'll have that movement, and I'll want to integrate it with chords in behind. 1, 2, 3. Once again, practicing that in every tonality is really useful. I strongly advise you to really explore different tonalities, especially if you're working with piano and bass, as all the open string, harmonic, and as well as white and black keys combination are really interesting, because playing the piano will really open up another possibility, or a lot of other possibilities. Let's check a last example, maybe with this exact voicing, but this time in A minor 7, so leading to G major 7. So I hope it gave you ideas and ways to practice with or without the piano, but it's really about hearing stuff and getting new and fresh ideas. So yeah, thank you, and see you for the next bass and creativity lesson. Bye.